Have you ever had a strong desire to bang your head against a wall? Do you love talking to people who love to try and dominate others in conversation? Well, have I got some news for you. These desires can be met, and more. All you have to do is try to engage a presuppositionalist on the internet. To be fair, not all presups are as obnoxious as some of the knuckle-dragging examples online might lead you to believe. It's possible to find a few cordial ones, and those who actually participate in academia are often much more nuanced and generally seem to be likable people. James and Anderson of RTS is one example. But this, unfortunately, is not true of many others. Philosopher Alex Malpass explains, the best representatives of the presuppositional apologetic are trying to elicit a Copernican shift in the way that the worldview is argued for. The worst representatives are not trying to do this. What they are up to is trying to confuse the non-Christian instead of addressing the actual arguments against Christianity. Any confusion on the part of the interlocutor is then pounced on as evidence that the argument has been won by the Christian. There is conceit behind such tactics. Consider this example by well-known presuppositionalist blockhead Cy ten Bruggencate. Before we go any further, let's be clear about definitions. When we use terms like reason or reasoning, what are we talking about? In philosophy, reason refers to a faculty or ability in virtue of which one makes appropriate doxastic judgments that have a high likelihood of approximating to truth. It's important to keep this definition in mind as we return to the topic at hand. There are only two options for someone when asked Cy's question. Either fall into the trap by trying to use their reason to demonstrate that their use of reason is valid, circular, or admit that they can't do it. Once this happens, the presup generally begins to act like they have a way out of this problem, and they will
start describing the attributes of their God and how rational he is and how logic is part of his divine nature and he created a rational world and that we're made in his image with an innate capacity for logic and we're designed with reliable cognitive capacities.
But here's the rub. When they give you this just so story, notice that
they invoke their God as the guarantor of the reliability of their cognitive capacities and inferential procedures or magically zapped knowledge. When they do that, just point out politely and without rudely interrupting that they have, in the very act of explaining all of this to you, used and relied upon their own cognitive capacities and inferential procedures in the very act of demonstrating their conclusion. And thus they've argued in a circle. The moment they set out using any reasoning, rely upon their memory, present premises, posit or presuppose anything, they're engaged in reasoning. They will be, in that moment, assuming the very reliability they're supposed to demonstrate in their conclusion, and so will have failed to satisfy their own challenge, which they put before you. Don't fall for the naive intuition that we all have, that there must exist some way of defending reason that doesn't itself assume the reliability of reason. There is no such argument that isn't itself circular. The presuppositionalist can't do it either. No one can do it. We're all in the same epistemological boat.
Put another way, they've fallen into the very trap they've laid for others, using their reason to give you reasons that their use of reason is valid. How, you might be wondering, could some people make such a crucial oversight? Well, it turns out that when people are more interested in using rhetorical tricks to beat others into submission, they tend to make bumbling errors. Who knew? Oh, and by the way, here's an entire playlist of me responding to apologists.